Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I would like to start by saying thank you for being here to assist in the process of justice being served. I know this process has been long and hard on every single one of us. My name is Keyunta and I am the prosecutor in this case. I am here to prove to you that Jodi Arias is in fact guilty of murdering Travis Scott in the first degree. I would like to ask you just one more favor before you leave today. Please listen carefully. Pay attention to everything I'm about to tell you. Help Travis Alexander's family get the peace they deserve. Help justice be served properly. Our story starts in September of 2006. A man meets a gorgeous blonde woman at a work convention in Las Vegas. The man's name, Travis Alexander. The woman's name, Jodi Arias. They both take interest in each other almost immediately, but due to living in different states, they decide to just become friends. The friendship led to becoming best friends, which led to feelings developing. Their official relationship started in February of 2007. Obviously, like most relationships nowadays, they went through a honeymoon phase. Since they were long distance, their honeymoon phase consists of talking every day, all day, long FaceTime calls, messaging all the time, flying back and forth to see each other, but everything was still going smoothly despite the long distance. That is until March of 2008. According to Travis Alexander's friends, March of 2008 is when Jodi Arias started acting different. Some would even say difficult. She began to become very needy and jealous and possessive of Travis Alexander. She wanted to know what he was doing, who he was doing it with, where he was doing it at all times. She would blow up his phone all times of the day, whenever she wanted to, no matter what he was doing. Obviously, this became too much for Travis Alexander, and he decided to end the relationship in June of 2008. If this was a normal story, I would be saying the end. But of course, this is not. What could turn this everyday failed relationship into murder? Two things, actually: anger and jealousy. Two very powerful emotions separately, but when you put them together, apparently to Jodi Arias, it equals death. These emotions were so strong that they led Jodi Arias to commit cold-blooded murder. Emotions that weighed so heavy on Jodi Arias' soul that it led her to plan out a murder. A murder so extreme, it's too hard to even talk about. 27 stab wounds and a .25 caliber gunshot to the head. Why was she so angry, you ask? Why was she jealous? Because the person she loved had moved on to another female. Her forever had left her behind, and she just couldn't cope with his decision. About a month after Travis Alexander broke up with Jodi Arias, she found out through mutual friends that he had a new girlfriend. It was a nice, pretty brunette female named Lisa. Lisa and Travis had recently planned to go to Cancun, Mexico on a work trip and a vacation. When Jodi heard about this, she just couldn't let it happen. This is when murder was brought into the question. She knew she could not let him go on this trip. How do I know she did it? Let's look at the evidence. On May 28th of 2008, a burglary occurred at Jodi Arias' grandparents' house. What was stolen, you ask? A .25 caliber automatic Colt pistol, which was never found, by the way. Coincidence or step one to premeditated murder? In June of 2008, she dyed her hair brown, rented a car, and borrowed two 5-gallon cans of gas from a former boyfriend and drove all the way to Arizona, where Travis Alexander lived. Could this be step two? Planning the smooth route and getaway where no one could link her to her crime she was about to commit? When she reached her destination, which was Alexander's house, they talked, caught up, which eventually led them to having sexual intercourse. After they finished intercourse, Travis Alexander decided to go take a shower. This is when Jodi Arias took his new digital camera and decided to take pictures of him. They decided to take pictures together and separately. Somewhere in between this is when I guess Jodi Arias' rage became too much for her to handle, and she decided to start stabbing Travis Alexander 27 times while he was in the shower. His throat had been slit from ear to ear, and he also had a gunshot in his head. The crime scene shows obvious signs of struggle, paths with blood on the wall and the floor, like Travis Alexander was running for his life. Alexander's body also shows cuts going up and down his hands, like he was trying to block some of the staff from making contact with his body, thus proving that Alexander tried to fight Jodi off, but she was very persistent. Upon investigating the crime scene, police also found a bloody palm print outside of Alexander's bedroom. Who did it belong to? The blood was a mixture of Jodi Arias's and Travis Alexander's. They also found long brown hairs on the floor and walls of the bathroom that only Travis Alexander used. The DNA hairs were also a match to Jodi Arias. Both of these DNA samples proved that she was present in the house the day of the murder. The next thing they found was a .25 caliber bullet casting on Alexander's bedroom floor. The last piece of evidence they found, and probably the most important, was the digital camera, which was destroyed and thrown in the washing machine. After finding the memory card and analyzing it, they found some very graphic photos of Jodi and Travis together, with a time stake with the date and time that Travis Alexander was murdered. Even after seeing all this evidence, Jodi Arias would not admit anything. She changed her story 3 times to avoid jail time. Initially, she denied even being in the state when the crime occurred. She claimed she hadn't seen Travis in weeks, but she did talk to him on the phone the morning of the murder. The next story she came up with was that 2 masked intruders, a man and a woman, broke into Alexander's home while she was there and were determined to kill them. She claimed she didn't see anything because they made her leave. They forced her to leave, and they threatened to kill her family if she ever told anyone about what happened. The last story Arias came up with to try to change the narrative was that she did kill Travis Alexander, but it was an act of self-defense. She claims that Travis Alexander was emotionally and physically abusive towards her from the beginning of their relationship. She stated that Alexander got mad at her when she dropped his brand new camera in the shower while they were taking pictures and decided to attack her, and she had to defend herself. He was chasing her around the house, up and down the halls, trying to get to her so he could hit her, which led her to run into his closet, grab his gun, and shoot him in the head. All 3 of these stories have various holes within them. We cannot determine what is true and what is not because it doesn't make sense. If he was chasing you, why is his blood all over the floor and the walls and not yours? If he was attacking you, why does he have defense wounds all up and down his body and on his hands? It just doesn't make sense. How can we believe someone who doesn't even know what happened herself? I don't have to try to ruin her credibility. She did it for me by changing her story so many times. She is a manipulator who is trying to get away with murder. She knew what she was doing. She took the time to plan out what she was doing perfectly. She wanted him dead. She took the phrase, "if I can't have him, no one can," literally, and she meant it. She let her emotions control her actions, definitely, but she had plenty of time to stop herself and evaluate what she was doing. The only thing she regrets is getting caught. A stolen gun, DNA evidence, photographs from the day of the crime, and inconsistent stories. All these events are the reasons you should convict Jodi Arias guilty of first-degree murder. She did it, and you know it. Now do the right thing and put this cold-blooded killer in prison where she belongs. Bring this family the closure they deserve so they can finally close this horrifying chapter of their lives. Thank you for your time.